exciting! I'm so excited. Taylor, we've got you here. Robbie, you're back.
I'm back.
Welcome.
This is it. You just got to put up with it.
Oh, I love it though. We're excited about the Giro.
I am. I'm buzzing about it, yeah. I just think Giro's like, it's like a serious Grand Tour, but there's some like relaxed vibe about it, which I love the most about all the Grand Tour.
It's the sexiness of it, isn't it? It's the romance. It's this sort of, I don't know, insouciance of it.
The va-va-voom, I don't know what that is in French. In French,
Italian.
I don't know French. In Italian. What's va-va-voom in Italian? You know, you speak Italian.
Va-va-voom, I thought.
Oh, is it?
Va-va-voom.
I think
Va-va-vooma.
that's South American, actually.
Oh, is it? Flipping heck,
Anyway.
multilingual over here. Holy moly.
More of a Brazilian thing, but
I didn't know you spoke Mexican.
I think the romanticism comes from the pink shorts.
Do you?
my opinion.
I do like pink shorts. You've won pink for it.
I'm glad you've noticed that. I did
Missed
actually
the memo, yeah.
choose it deliberately for this. But we're not starting in Italy, are we? Starting in Albania. What
Albania.
Are we at? How do you say it?
Albania
In Italian.
in Italian. It sounds Italian.
It does, yeah.
I feel sorry for the teams that have got to travel. Like, it's nice that it's starting there, but it's a long way.
What is it like for the riders?
Is it though?
It's not
that
long.
far.
It's not
It's
a long
across
day,
that.
but
It's
a
just
long
the
day.
sea, though, right?
Get in the boat back again.
Just the sea.
And they're literally getting the boat back, apparently, aren't they?
In a boat, like, it's still a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
But what is the vibe when you've got a foreign Grand Partenza like that, especially one that needs that extra travel day? Because for me, when I'm covering it, I love it. I find it so fun, you know, and adventurous. But as a rider, are you just in full race mode and thinking, just get me started?
Honestly, as a rider, it's a pain. It is a pain. Like you're hanging around for days to get it started. It finally gets underway, then you've done 3 days and there's already a rest day.
Yeah.
That's
And
a good bit. Yeah, boy.
And it's a long travel day, and you feel like, "Oh, can't we just really get this underway?" And that first rest day pause feels so unnatural when you're used to doing 9 days before the first rest day. Now, 3 days and a rest day, and it just is weird.
Is there no excitement, and this sounds like a really basic question, but is there no excitement of having somewhere new to go to and almost being part of that epic chapter in the story of the race?
I just think with cyclists, they are so like, we've got to do this, got to do that. And when they go to Albania, they'll see 2, maybe 3 days of it looking around, but that's only when they're training. They're not going to be like, let's go and venture out and have a look around. Literally bike, hotel, that's it for the 3 days they're there, apart from the race, obviously.
We flew into Cuneo, right up in the northwest,
Oh, man.
at the base of the Alps, and then we got bussed into this like a big military tent for dinner. It was pouring rain, pitch black mountain roads. Like, what is going on?
But there was
we felt like we were being sort of kidnapped, and it was like in this halfway sort of, you know, just marquee that had been erected. Like, what is going on? Can't we just go to a hotel?
Oh, it was great.
Like a normal sport.
Yes.
The best thing about that was it was like the mayor of the town, and he was quite important for the race. So all the teams had to go. There was like no exceptions. Everyone had to go, but it was like 12 o'clock at night. So everyone was like, ugh. And there's a few, I was dead young, so I was like, this is great, sitting down, you can see all the teams, have a chat with everyone. The first 3 days in Rotterdam, the first day, there was just, Brad was riding the Giro, Bradley Wiggins for Sky, and you know how like military they were.
And that was their first Grand Tour.
That was their first Grand Tour, and in Holland, it was all crosswinds, and in the final 15K, Matt Heyman crashed at the front of a 9-man team, and it took everyone out. So you can imagine how unhappy they were when they eventually got there, and they were like, sit down, you've got to have your dinner. They were all like marginal gains and all this. They just wanted to leave, and the arguments. Brad was walking around, sat at dinner just like that, looking at people. It was great.
And you were busy, all excited at seeing your friends.
I was like, that. Oh, look, there's Parmesan cheese. Looking lovely. There's some in there.
So what do we think of the first 3 stages then, the parkour of it?
It's difficult. It's complicated because you expect to sort of get there and have what we often see, bunch sprint or 2, something maybe a bit of a climb, but it's lumpy. There's circuits. There's a short time trial. There's a little bit of everything to sort of showcase cycling to the Albanian public. But for the riders, that sort of course that they've laid out there is quite complicated, and I think it's going to be a very nervous first 3 days.
Is it ever not?
It's never not nervous, but particularly now there's so many unknowns.
Yeah.
Riders and teams, they like to know what's coming. They know the area, have a bit of knowledge about everything they're going to face. Now they're going to Albania, and just everything is brand new and different,
Yeah.
and it's going to make a lot of people nervous, not just the riders on the road, but just everybody around the race.
Do you know what I think the most exciting bit is you could have 3 pink jerseys on 3 different colours, or you could have it on exactly the same rider if they can back it up. Well, that sounds
Or 2 in 1.
But I just think the only person that might be able to do it is Wout. If you get to
Yeah.
the first stage, you'll be able to hold on with the time trial and the next day. But if not, it could change hands every day, which I think for the race is exciting because it makes it super aggressive.
I think, like you were saying before we sat down at this table, that actually for the fans, you reckon if Walt was in pink, that's it, job done. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Giro of Wout.
Do you?
I believe.
Why?
Just because I've seen enough Instagram reels.
Instagram win, dreams come true. But I agree. I think Walt is going to be really, really good.
Do you think we've seen enough of him to give you that confidence then?
Never seen him
Yeah.
for a while.
No, but I've seen enough to believe that he's got more progression to make. Like he came into the classics and he was sort of there and thereabouts, but getting fourth and not on the podium, not getting the big wins. But his preparation was kind of strange. Off to altitude camp for weeks, so had this really good base, but he seemed to be missing that anaerobic capacity when the others really put the hammer down in the big races. And he's got the racing in the legs. I think he's going to be really ready to perform at the Giro. I think he's going to be at a great level. And I think I don't know if he'll wear pink shorts.
Oh, Walt would wear pink shorts.
You reckon?
I mean,
I just say
Instagram is
Well,
great.
We'll demand it, will we?
Maybe I don't watch enough reels, but I think if he takes the pink jersey, he'll have black shorts with pink logos.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds like him, yeah.
Yeah.
Best news. Sounds like him.
Yeah, I met him one time.
He seemed like a black short kind of guy.
Gave me that vibe.
You'd wear full pink, wouldn't you?
He did.
I would. I wore pink pants to the Giro presentation one time.
When you say pants for a
sorry,
British audience,
British.
trousers. I mean, you might have worn pink underpants as well. Did you?
No, actually no underpants.
Didn't you? You got pink though and wore pink shorts, didn't you?
No, I think I wore black shorts also because we were always wearing red shorts, and then I had this dream about wearing black shorts. And Andy Reese, our late team boss at the time, he just wouldn't let us wear black shorts. He really wanted to see us in red.
Although they did give us black shorts in that team for bad weather.
That's true, but you're not going to wear thermal bibs.
Well, you could have just put the red shorts through the hot wash and then...
That's
So
true.
what about the time trial then? What do you make of it?
I'm
Well,
excited.
who do you think is going to be favourite for that parkour?
Wow. Sorry. Yeah, I do.
No, I'm excited to see, as a time trialist myself, I'm excited to see a flat time trial. In the Grand Tour for once in a while.
Yeah.
Seems like they're going super
Out of
hilly
fashion.
with a lot of the courses, and I feel like it's nice to get like a proper 53, 54K an hour time trial.
How do you think you'd fare in the time trial in stage 2 if you were peak time trial Taylor?
I think I would win for sure.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
And would you then wear pink shorts?
Oh, now? Yes. Especially now, yeah.
Yeah, that's more your vibe now.
Considering what I know now and the regrets that I have in looking backwards, I would wear pink shorts.
Hang on a minute, Taylor.
yeah.
What version of life allows you to sit in regret at not wearing pink shorts? I like this.
It's just, you look back on some decisions that you made as a younger rider, choosing black shorts over. And then, you see somebody like Pogacar come along and you're like, wow, I could have really just been showing myself off to the world
Yeah.
more.
Your pink legs.
Yeah,
As a-
well,
as a
that
youth.
can happen in pink or white shorts if they're not well designed.
Stage 3 then, what do you make of that? Is that going to be for the tougher sprint? Is it going to be a sprint?
It's going to be a sprint of some sort,
Yeah.
I think, but I don't think there'll be many, if any, sprinters there. I was just looking at the profile. There's a 10.5 kilometre climb at 7.5% average gradient, which tops out with around 40K to go, but a ripping descent. So of that 40K, you lose sort of 12 of that with the descent.
Yeah.
By that time, you're that close to the finish. Everyone's just going to push on. I think it's going to be a really select group. probably a Wout van Aert will get
Yeah,
over
you
it.
think so?
I mean,
Literally just wild for every
Wout's
stage.
gonna be on Giro.
That's
and
great.
talking of guys who are fast, but for the rest, even a Mads Pedersen, he'll struggle to get over that. He might. Just depends on the level of
Pidcock will
pressure.
be
I was going to
Race.
say Tom.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
well, we hope that Pidcock gets over it and then just pins the ears back on the descent.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Rips the race to pieces, puts everybody in trouble.
It could be a good day for the break, you know, with the GC guys. It's like medium GC day, maybe a sprint day. And if everyone's looking at each other, they might just be like, you know what, there's a good chance to get in that jersey. So you never know, but it's the first 3 days, everyone's going to be fresh. And I think after that time trial, that third day, there'll be a lot of fresh riders because they're not going to have to go too full gas if they're not bothered about GCs.
Hey, speaking of time trials, I know it's an individual time trial in the Vuelta, but what did we make of the team time trial at the Vuelta Femenina? Visma, I think one of the main teams that were held up. The UCI blamed Movistar being late and fined them, but it sounds like it was just because there was one commissaire who was checking all the bikes.
Absolute
time-
debacle. That
Yeah.
is just ridiculous. Like not having any contingency plan, having one person to check all the bikes. And if one team turns up late, well, then you're stuck there. You've got to control every bike. And we're talking about what are your options. I mean, I know there would be a few teams and certain team directors who would say, UCI, you just got this wrong and we're not going to pay the consequences. So you're going to just wait until we're all present. We'll go off and you adjust our time.
And that's a big risk, isn't it? Because the UCI
is,
could say rules are rules, you're just going to have to suck it up. And actually, if you start 2 minutes later, we're just adding those 2 minutes onto your time.
The UCI doesn't bend so much, but I do live in Spain, and in Spain we have this thing called Spanish time, and that was a great display of some Spanish.
Yeah.
I just think the UCI is so, they'll take anyone's blame, like Ciccone throwing his glasses, finding him for that. It's so ridiculous. When something's affected like this, they're just like, it's not our problem.
Not
We don't
our
wanna
fault.
face
It was
We're not-
Movistar who were late.
Yeah, we're not going to do it.
Are we guilty, though, of always saying it's the UCI's fault?
No, they
No.
It's always the
Yeah. I mean, of course, partly it is Movistar's fault not being there on time, but the UCI, all you need is a second commissaire and a second jig.
Yeah.
You get all the bikes through in twice the speed. So,
And a contingency plan.
yeah. It's
shameful.
amateur hour. It was such a shame to see that a team, you put all the work in behind the scenes to do your best, and then say, oh, well, we're not ready for you to go up there and start yet because we haven't checked your bike.
You'd have been fine in this situation, but if me and you were the last rider to get our bike checked and we missed that start,
all the time.
yeah, we'd be out the race like day one. We'd be outside the time limit, gone, finished.
Could be.
Oh, well, it could be, would be.
Welcome to the Giro D'Italia.
The sprinters have had to sit tight and suffer over the opening couple of days. This should be their first chance. Milan hits the front, or does he? It's Tim Medleer who does the job. Milan's going, Milan makes it, and he has his win for a second year running. The sprinters launch from a mile away, and here comes Milan, and Orla wins in extremis. Milan coming through the centre, Medleer and Milan, oh, the big man in purple takes it. Milan's hit the front, and nobody can live with him. It's mighty Milan, a hat-trick for Jonathan Milan.
They are all in order and ready for takeoff.
Milan through the centre on the left.
Just a monster.
Yeah, but Merlier, you can't keep him down.
Malea's big though, like he's taller than what you think.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just next to Milan.
He's
No,
very,
it's
he's
quite-
very Pataki.
Yeah.
Pitaki.
Narrow.
Oh, I love it.
Everybody's narrow these days.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
They're all aero.
Yeah.
Arrow and narrow.
Yeah,
God, you do pay attention to time trials. I like it.
narrow.
It's like a side eye thing.
Sprints then, who are we looking at? I saw a column, an article in a Belgian newspaper saying Olaf Koy versus the rest. Is it really? It was a Dutch newspaper, actually.
Versus his teammate. Wow.
Well, I think he's going to be the ultimate lead-out man, Walt, because I think there's
Wout will be the ultimate leader.
there's enough opportunities on other stages for Walt to do his thing. But when it's flat and proper sprints, then Walt will be leading out Olaf Koy, and he's done it in other races, and
Yeah.
he's really happy to do
Did
it.
it in Tour of Britain. He won 6 out of 8.
And there's a potent combination. But there's a lot of other good sprinters there. Caden Groves comes to the Giro every year and wins stages. I think he is the man to beat on form. But there's no...
Koy.
Well, he's done it more. Coy won a stage last year, was in Naples.
I'd say that Caden's more hilly, more Wout terrain, more Wout kind of sprint than
he can survive a harder
Yeah.
than Coy can.
They all can now, though, can't
Yeah.
Pretty much. Coy's no slouch either.
they? Yeah, that's true.
Are we looking at Mads for any of the flatter bunch sprints or not so much?
He'll do them all.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll just do. Mads is somebody who won't go, oh, that one's not for me. I sort of won't concentrate on much. He'll just go, there's a race. I'm in. I can win this somehow.
He'll get super good near the end of the Giro. When the flatter sprint stages come, that's when he'll start to be really good because everyone will be a bit pinned. So I reckon that's when he'll start to come around a little bit, I think.
What about Sam Bennett?
Well, it'd be good to see him come back to the Sam Bennett that
love it.
ended up winning a green jersey at the Tour de France, and he's shown some good signs this season. I don't know if he's good enough anymore. It sounds a bit harsh to be as good as Corey.
I think he'll be good enough for one day, but he's not consistently good like he was. So I think he'll get a day like Cav did when he was still racing. Like all he needs is one day, one win. I don't think he's looking at his Giro going minimum 2-3 wins. I think he's like one win.
Would be a
Giro
success.
done. Yeah.
But how much of that is a confidence game? Because we keep talking about it in sprints in particular, that you need the confidence of the wins to then get going. Do you think that Sam maybe just needs the confidence of a win?
Anyone can use the confidence of a win, but he's been riding well and he's had a couple of wins. I think he'll go in confident that, like Adam said, he can get it right at least once. One day is all it takes to make your entire Giro a success.
Yeah. Do you watch the sprints much? Do you like the sprint stages?
You know it, yeah.
Such a team.
That's a flat note, isn't it?
I was gonna say that sometimes in the sprints, you know, like unless you're like a real sprinter like Robbie, I would find myself.
Not Adam.
Yeah, cheers.
Oh, that's a burn. I love it.
I mean,
That's a great cock, though. Cock.
let's take the Palmares and we can do a comparison. But
Again! I'm sat right here. I know. It's fine. It's fine. You were really good.
there's a reason that Robbie's face was on the main stage of Coachella. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I'd made my debut at Coachella with Kraftwerk.
What are you talking about? Is any of
Kraftwerk.
this real?
Kraftwerk.
I know Kraftwerk.
They played at Coachella.
Yeah.
And they were doing some sort of Tour de France, like, because they made a song about the
Yeah,
Tour de France.
yeah.
And then they just put old McEwen up on the
Big screen.
enormous
Genuinely.
Yeah.
So you can say,
Giant Robbie head.
wow. Can you imagine being at Coachella and seeing that? What is going on?
I'd probably think, what the heck is going on in my head right now?
Like,
What have I taken by accident?
Anyway, we digress.
no.
Back to Robbie. Not back to how brilliant he is.
Back to the other story about me.
No, what I was gonna say is like I was never a great sprinter, but I could kind of be up there and getting in people's way, probably, from their perspective.
Like a Ghana who's there
Yeah,
and could be
yeah.
there.
So like I think somebody like Sam Bennett, it's like if you're following the right wheels and you kind of get that lucky sort of flow and then you just find yourself there, you never really know with the sprint, you know, it's not quite as black and white to predict.
I think they're going to be messy sprints at this Giro. I don't think there's not a team like we had with Jonathan Milan last year with Little Trek. There's not Tim Merlier and the Quick-Step lead-out train.
Alpecin?
Alpecin are pretty good. They're pretty well drilled, but they haven't got their sort of big-name lead-out men because they're all also saving them for Jasper and for the Tour de France. So I think there's not the firepower in any one team to completely dominate the lead-out for the sprints. And when we're sort of looking at it and talking about it, didn't seem like there were many sprinters. We're saying, okay, Walt with Coy and Caden, Mads, and then I look through the list. I'm looking at guys, okay, Max Cantor and Matteo Moschetti. These are sort of guys who just get in and mix in these really messy sprints. They get completely chaotic. And a guy like Moschetti, he could pop out and win one. He's been doing it earlier this season in a number of races. So I think they're going to be really entertaining sprints and fun to pick apart because I think they're just going to be nuts.
Carnage,
Yeah.
I think you're salivating at the thought
No,
of it.
yeah.
We're talking about our Predictors Challenge and the fact that I win it, usually. I still have the statue in my downstairs toilet.
Hold on, you have a statue or a trophy?
Well, there's like an Oscar statue.
Yeah, like a
There's
trophy.
Statue, not a
statue.
It's a statue of a little gold man.
A Stofie.
It is a trophy that's a statue.
Cool.
And my son actually only recently discovered the Oscars and thought,
Shut up. Oh, that's cute.
And you said I did.
I did. We are heading back into competition territory, boys. And I just want to say, I am the current leader, defending champion.
I was going to say, you can't leave before it started, love.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm winning anyway. I won the
course you are.
classics. Okay, then I'm defending champion. I'm the early season champion.
Yeah, we'll take
So anyway, there's a predictor competition,
Yeah.
and we're all starting equal because it hasn't started yet.
That's true, says the loser. Yeah, you did really badly in the classics, actually, Robbie, didn't you?
Was I in it?
Oh, stop it! Every day, I'm sure you stayed.
No, that wasn't me. That was AI. I was hacked.
Because
I was hacked.
every time Adam was taking a mick out of you.
I heard.
Yeah, the-
I've got a compilation. The new Grand Tour season, new
True.
predictor challenge.
Yeah, feeling confident.
I'll finish in the top 4.
Who won last year?
The Giro, I think I did.
No, overall, who won the Giro last year? Which rider?
Oh right, forgot time.
Well done.
Sorry,
Started well.
on the Giro last year. I did. The only competition.
As if that was your first answer. Me, obviously. God.
We're not competitive.
Some things never
And
change.
Never, ever change.
Tade the dade. How does the predictor thing work, anyways?
I win it.
We basically...
It's rigged.
Yeah. Orla nags the producer to
No, I
keep her
don't.
in front on a daily basis.
What happens usually is I'm dropped to last pick every time because he
Oh
was.
my God, wind your neck in, would you?
We take it in turns every day to have the first pick for who's going to win the stage. And then the winner gets like 20 points or something. And then you get points for the top 10. So if your rider finishes in the top 10,
You're
get
not allowed
points.
to
And
pick
then
the
it's,
same rider.
Right.
yeah, we've got to pick somebody different every day. And you're not allowed to pick the same rider 2 days in a row. So if you think Primoz is going to win like 2 back-to-back mountain stages, you can't pick him both days. You've got to choose.
And also, you have to pick a GC at the start, winner. And if you pick a GC winner, it's right, it's 40 points. So it's big.
And how does the audience factor in?
Well, this year we're going to be taking the audience on, so they're going to have a rider that they can vote for and then see who wins between the pundits and the audience. Nothing else will win. Anyway, competition that matters.
Nah. I think Matt Stevens is the big danger.
I agree. And since he's not here...
Double that.
Shall
I
we-
agree.
So what are we
Think
gonna
about
do?
it more. I agree as
Oh,
well.
I've just had an idea because he's not here.
You know,
Shall we gang up on him?
this does go on telly.
I'll say it was like we were hacked.
He's got his nose up in front. The little guy's got big. Oh, that was fantastic. No!
My team never lost faith in me, and I never lost faith in my sprints, and I knew if everything came together, then I could be the fastest on the day.
It's Ewan there who gets it. Caleb Ewen at the double.
Oh, and Caleb Ewen from absolutely nowhere makes the steal. It was him versus Groenewegen on the line.
Bennett going all the way. Bennett staying there as Ewan tries to come around. Bennett and Ewan.
Loved watching him win.
When he was good, he was good.
He was so good and really classy. You know, something you couldn't put your finger on.
Caleb Ewen up against Nizzolo. Caleb Ewen and Nizzolo. It's Ewan who takes it. It's going to be Ewan going around. Ewan's there, Menlia's catching. Ewan's going all the way. My, does he deserve that?
Oh, look at this. On the throw is now. Caleb Ewen, look at him, man in charge. Ewen gets there. Caleb Ewen makes it stick.
Caleb McEwen.
I think that last win was the last time he raced as well.
Was it?
Yeah, which is quite cool.
What a way to go out. I mean, such a shock for a start because he just found a new team and he just won.
Yeah.
But I mean, how to go out on your own terms?
Yes, but I've got to say I'm disappointed because we don't get to see that anymore after such a rough time that he's had over the last couple of years, and then joining Ineos Grenadiers and then getting back to winning waves. Are like, yes, he's back. This is so promising. We're going to get to see more of his brilliance, and now he's announced that he's retired, and I felt really let down. I'm not saying he shouldn't, because everything else that's gone on for him. But as a sports fan, it's disappointing.
What was the reaction back in Australia?
Shock. Everyone was, I mean, those who know the backstory sort of are surprised but understanding. But I think for cycling fans, it's just shock and disappointment because, oh, no, we love watching him.
I can say as somebody who also retired abruptly, there's a lot going on. There has to be a lot going on in the background that you don't see that leads to that decision. And usually that decision takes years to form. So he's been having more of a difficult couple of years. And I think if you do kind of come back and you are experiencing success again, and then you still decide to retire, it means that it's been a couple of years in the making. And so I think personally for me, I'm happy that he can go in.
I think, you know, if you raced and you've just won your last race that you've done and then you decide to retire, that feeling of the joy of success is like huge for a cyclist, any sports person. I think if he's done that and then said, I'm out, it's probably for the right reason. It'd be like banging your head against a wall, just riding for the sake of riding after that.
I'm happy for him that he's been able to make the decision and now really cut the cord because it's, for 2 years, you could see it in his performances, his mannerisms, people around him saying the same thing, really sort of lost his mojo and his love for the sport and just didn't want to be there. And despite coming back and winning straight away, and he said it in his Instagram post, he said it just, you know, you win, you get that feeling, but it just doesn't last, and that's not what I'm here for.
It's that reminder as well, isn't it, that we never know what's going on with a rider. And I always feel this responsibility in our position that it's our job to commentate on performance and to dissect performance and momentum and to guess at things. And that's part of the responsibility in terms of trying to grow the sport and trying to get people interested in it. But I'm always mindful of the fact that we have no idea what's going on in these very human lives, you know, and it's really easy to sit back and feed the mob sometimes. You know, and I think it's just really important to be conscious of that always as sports fans as well, you know, because I'm the same. I was really disappointed when he retired. 11 Grand Tour stage wins, 5 at the Tour de France. Like, that's phenomenal.
But it's also like if you win 1 Grand Tour stage as a professional cyclist, like that's huge. You know, he's been down.
Sure, that's like I don't know.
Thank you.
I
I just thinking Taylor.
I know, yeah. Look at you remembering her.
I never won bench tourney.
Yeah, boy.
I remember when that happened and how excited I was.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Because I was around in that week as well, and that was fun.
That's so sweet.
But on early retirements, you know, Caleb, like you just said, he's only 30, and looking at how cycling's gone in the last couple of decades where teams are sourcing riders so young, they're plucking them out of the juniors, signing them up to contracts, and then a lot of them skipping the under 23 ranks. And
sprinters are winning at 19 now.
Yeah, I mean, Tadej Pogacar was winning Grand Tours at 21. Was he only 20? Yeah. 21. Anyway, he's a bit of an exception to that general rule, but there's so many young pros now. But even for you, Taylor, you came out of really successful junior career, world champion as a junior. You won the under 23 Paris-Roubaix. But by the time you turned pro, like some of these young guys now, you're not even 30 and you think, I'm done.
Well, yeah, I think especially if you experience a lot of success and you know what it's like to be at the top, and then you see the way that you kind of stand in the rest of the peloton as you're getting older. And if you've been around for a long time and you've been at a high, performing at a high level since you were a teenager, I think once you get to this 28, 29, 30 years old, you start to look at the outside world because you've been in this cycling bubble for your whole adult life. And you go like, I wonder what it would feel like to just be able to go for a run, or I wonder what it would feel like to not have to do the same racing calendar every year. And from the outside, I even feel myself thinking this now, 5-6 years onwards. I now look at the professional riders and I'm like, oh yeah, that is the dream. They are living the dream. When I was there and I wanted to retire, I did not feel that way. So it's kind of come around so that I'm on the other side.
I also think with riders now, especially like you, me, Caleb, when were you pro? 2011? Yeah, 11. I was 10. Caleb was 15. I think since cycling for us then, we had like the good years that were still before it got really serious, before it all started to kick off, and then it got harder and harder and harder.
The good years.
Yeah, the good years.
When we used to sit at the back for extended periods of time.
Like until the finish sometimes. But Caleb's come through it a little bit where he's super good, and I think he was like one of those riders that's come through with all the knowledge, all the training, trained like a pro from when he was tiny, still is tiny.
Oh, that's easy.
But I think
That was good.
now with Caleb, he's really got to that peak in cycling where you have to spend so much time away from home. You really have to dedicate yourself to probably 200 days a year away from home with training camps. He's got 3 little kids at home.
Yeah, it's
That's
different. You've got a family, isn't it? Changes it.
And I think Caleb, he's a real homebody too,
Oh,
a
he
real
is, yeah.
family guy who I think he wants to be there every second of every day. And
He's a
got
young dad as well,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Financially, he's done really well. He's not having to stay working just because he needs to put food on the table. That's sort of covered. It's I
tough
think for him
job.
a big thing is that missing the family, not being there, and the way cycling's gone now is like training camp all throughout the year. Like,
And as a
lot of
sprinter,
guys
you're
that
judged
ain't
at your
living-
wins.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a domestique where you can sort of,
I wouldn't know.
but you know, you can be judged sort of subjectively as a domestique.
Yeah.
As a sprinter, you either win or you don't. You know, it's that brutal.
Yeah.
But you've spoken to him since he moved
Yeah.
to ISA.
He's all right, he's off to Disneyland. He's buzzing.
he?
Yeah. He was in the car this morning with his
Disneyland?
wife.
Yeah.
Disneyland, yeah.
That's my nightmare.
Oh, really?
Really? But you
No,
don't have kids, though. It'd be weird.
true,
you know?
Why is it your nightmare?
he's too tall to be on the rides.
They don't let me. I stand in line for like 90 minutes. I'm just like, sorry, bro.
Yeah, but he's good. He's in the car this morning with the family on the way to Disneyland. So he's like fully happy, he's just happy, just doing what he wants to do. And he'll ride his bike. I think he's going to do a marathon in a few months. So he's happy as Larry.
I love that. He's retired on his own terms. The first thing he's done is take the family to Disneyland. That says to me he's doing it for the right reason.
Oh,
you know?
He might come back to the sport after he goes to Disney.
No,
2 weeks time then. Yeah. Ineos?
No.
Really? You've not ripped up the contract just yet, have you? Mickey Mouse and all that.
it's brave as well, though, that he's done. It's very brave, I think.
Yeah,
Like doing what he's doing.
It takes a lot of courage to have that conversation with your bosses, your agents, because everybody tells you no.
Yeah, of course they're relying on you to a certain extent.
He was getting offers as well from other teams. So he was like offering to resign, I think, with Ineos, and there was a few more offers from other teams coming in. So he wasn't in a position where he was like scratching the table thinking, how am I going to earn money? He was just like,
Because everybody can see the talent's still there. He's
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
winning races. The way he won on his very first day back in the saddle with a number on his back, he won. And it's I think it's a huge decision then to know you've still got the talent, know you can still do it. You're only 30 years old.
Yeah.
You know, all these other teams know he can still do it. And that's from the selfish fan side that you're disappointed that you're not going to get to see that anymore.
Yeah.
He'll be racing gravel soon enough.
Oh, and is it going to be a knockout blow? This is outstanding run right now. We've still got 80 kilometres to go, don't forget. Pow! Chris Froome decides to stick one on absolutely everybody. Gosh, well, still so much of this race to be dealt with, but Chris Froome has dealt a killer hand today by the looks of things. Dumoulin's pace is more than matching. In fact, it's closing on Chris Froome. Froome about to take the Cima Coppi. He's built up some big titles here. He's now going to crest the Cima Coppi, the highest point of the race. Chris Froome flying at the moment.
We're unsure if he can take it to the finish yet. He has 59 seconds on Tom Dumoulin. The Italian press was saying it was apertissimo. It was wide open. Well, it's been blown wide open by Team Sky.
It's a never say die attitude that Chris Froome has displayed on many occasions. He's going to see the finish line and he's going to know that he owns it. And indeed, a pink jersey. He is just about to achieve one of the rides of his career. The ride of a lifetime, maybe. Let us wait and see how many more pages can this man write of what has been an absolute tome of greatness. Oh, Chris Froome! Knockout performance!
That was such a fun day to be cycling fan there, wasn't it?
It was mad. Like the range that he went, there was a long range attack with all the favourites, and he said, well, one way I'm going to win or I'm going to lose spectacularly. It was awesome.
What I love about that stage as well is that since seeing that at the time, it's always given me hope, even until the last couple of stages of a Grand Tour, that everything can turn in its head because we've seen it happen.
Yeah. It definitely can. He was, do you know, there's like two things with that. It really disappoints me. Like a normal attack like that now, 60, 70k out, it's fairly normal nowadays, which is crackers when you think back then it was like unheard of.
True.
But more so because what made that so cool for me was that he was just going out and doing it off of what looked like feeling. Like it was planned, but then you heard all the stories about the nutrition, how it was all done. And then I think after that, it got even more serious throughout all these nutritional plans and everything. So I loved it, but I feel like that was the start of the end for like the feeling for a race almost.
You say that, but
Romantic.
at the same time,
Yeah, the romantic.
but don't you think we've got the most romantic cycling imaginable now? Because I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of riders who are watching their numbers and riding to power and all the rest of it, but there's so much emotion and passion in it at the top end.
Yeah, true,
now.
actually, yeah, true.
I think regardless, cycling is like the most dramatic and romantic sport that exists. It's like no matter, just you're watching these people, these athletes at their highest level, suffering to their limits, and you're doing it in a landscape like that on the top of such a beautiful col. And it's just like you don't get that with other sports, you know. So I think the romanticism is always still there.
I think that climb will be ridiculous, especially in the Giro where it's placed. It's just going to throw a big spanner in the works for sure.
Stage 20, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I find strange about the final week of this Giro, it's not as mountainous as we're used to. You sort of look at the Giro profile most years and you see a final week, with the exception of the last day in Rome. All the other days are huge mountains, summit finishes. There's 3 in the last week and that's it. So it's sort of a light on mountains final week by Giro standards, not as many uphill finishes. But I think that's also going to open the race a little bit more, make it slightly more unpredictable.
There is a lot of intermediate stages though, isn't there? Normally in the Giro you've got like guaranteed sprint, pretty much guaranteed breakaway / rest day for the rest of the peloton. And then the big mountain days, there's not really a defined breakaway day. It could go GC-wise. I think there's going to be a lot of those type of days where there could be big gaps in GC if you're having a bad day, or there'll be no gaps at all. But I think that's what they've done quite well with it.
What I like as well is that often when we have these big mountain stages and mountaintop finishes and it's back to back, you get so much negative racing because everyone knows it's going to be so hard. So everything is held back. Not even until the last climb, but like the last 3K of the last climb, which as a spectator isn't the most fun to watch. But if you've got one of the big climbs in the middle of the stage or like 20K before the end, the racing has to happen a lot sooner if you're in the battle for GC. Is that not a good thing?
That is what I like about the Giro in general, is that it's a bit more like of a wild card race, and you have these last couple of days, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, whereas in the Tour, everybody's so focused and the teams are super dialed. And so the Giro, you get into this last week and you can have this kind of like one person has this mega day and then all of a sudden they're, you know, vying for the lead. So
who are we looking at then? Who's everybody's favourite to win this Giro?
I mean, there's quite a few of them.
I changed my mind about an hour ago. I'd been saying Roglic, and looking what he did earlier this season, how he won Catalunya. But then I thought about the last time he won the Giro a couple of years ago, 2023, and he beat Geraint Thomas by 14 seconds. So then I started thinking, Ayuso. Yeah. He's on the up. I think he's still got plenty to learn.
Yeah,
he's shown in experience. I think he's also learned a lot by losing Catalunya a few weeks ago. And I'm leaning towards him now. I think it's going to be a battle between those two. I don't see anybody else at their level.
I just think Simon Yates will be interesting for me. We've not really seen him at all this year. I mean, he's got a strong team with him that's not necessarily focused around him. But I think if Wout's good, which we're expecting him to be, we know what Wout can do in a Grand Tour, how he can shape things and shape the race in terms of those breakaways. And I think those two will play well off of each other. So I'm very intrigued to see the role he's going to play in this.
I hope we see a strong Visma for that reason.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of fun to see Wout back at his best, Olaf Koy, in that sprinter role as well, but also Simon Yates being able to contend for GC. That just adds another element into that.
With the help of his brother.
Hey, but a few years ago, we thought Simon Yates was going to win the Giro. In the first 10 days, he was just smashing out stage wins, riding away at will, and everyone's like, Simon Yates has got the Giro one.
was the one-
That's the one where Froome rode away.
Yeah.
And on the Finestra. But the Giro is such a fickle race. It's a race that's proven for decades that if you go in hot at the start, you will be ice cold at the end. And
So who's hottest going in, would you say?
Probably Wout.
I
Been
think,
form. Which one are we talking about? 'Cause he's hot. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Normally.
Michael Storer. I think he won the Tour of the Alps.
No, we're
He
talking
won
about
a mega stage in Paris-Nice. He was in really good form. That's going to be difficult to carry all the way through to the back end of the Giro. And there's others who've been talking about start slow, come in slightly underdone. A guy like Tiberti has just been sort of creeping up on form. Whether he can
He was sick in
replicate
Alps,
what he's
wasn't he?
done. Yeah.
Sick in Alps.
Was he though? I mean,
Well, a bit of
sometimes you get
gastro
guys
problem,
going like,
Was he?
sick, or just they're just trying to lay low.
Unsuitable mentality.
Yeah, push away all the attention. Like, I'm sick, I'm not going any good.
Yeah.
Boom.
I see Ciccone coming in pretty hot. You know, he had a good showing in Liège, and I feel like got a lot of confidence from that. Also, Italians at the Giro. I would love to see an Italian in pink.
You three have all ridden the Giro. What's your best memory of it? Any stories?
My first Giro was in 2012, and then we started in Denmark with a time trial prologue, and I won that prologue and got into the pink jersey.
Good story.
Mic drop, yeah. That's it.
That's it, done. And that is the story of the Giro D'Italia.
Nah. And then the next 3 days, I proceeded to crash every single stage in the pink jersey, one of which was in the last 5Ks. And I got like a mega bottle hand up to just make it back into the peloton. The last day in Denmark, I don't know what I was doing, but I was mixing it up like close to the front in the sprint. And this is when Cav crashed super hard, which doesn't really narrow down exactly what that was. But I ended up flipping over, got a spoke in my ankle and rolled my ankle, and my ankle was immediately like enormous. And this was on the last day in Denmark. We had a rest day the next day. I was still in the pink jersey, but I was like, I couldn't even walk. And this is my first Grand Tour, my first Giro, and we had a team time trial the next day, our return to Italy. And it was in the Veneto region, which is where I used to live as a kid. So I had all of these friends coming out, but I was like, I had nothing. So the team was waiting for me and everything. And I just, I went from first, I think, to like fifth to last on the stage after that. And it was the next 2-3 days were just torture. It was me and Cav and Bernie Eisel and like 3 other stragglers just fighting to make time cut every single day. But then, you know, we made it through.
Wow.
Did you finish?
Yeah, finished.
So you spent 3 days in the pink jersey all the same?
3 days in the pink jersey, they were the most stressful 3 days of my entire career.
Do you think that's why you crashed so much? Were you stressed?
100%. Yeah, because I was like, oh, great, I'm in the pink jersey now. The only thing I can do now is
Lose it.
And I was young. I mean, I was, at that time, I was young. Now there are kids at 22 that are incredible, but at 22, I was not poised in that way, and so I was just super nervous and crashing 3 days in a row.
What an horrific lesson that is for life, though, as well. Achieve your dreams too soon. All you can do is lose it.
Which I did. But I was racing with one compression sock. I mean, I was keeping the style a lot. Those no pink shorts, though. Should have.
What's your favourite Giro memory, Robbie?
Oh, my favourite. Well, back in the
Worst.
in the olden days, was when people used to, and you know, friends or family of riders used to come roadside with tray upon tray upon tray of Italian treats, pastries and all this sort of stuff. You'd have guys riding through the peloton with a tray like this past everyone, like, have one, here. We're all scoffing our faces.
The golden
all these, it was a golden era of cycling. And I mean, when the race was on, it was really going. It was ridiculously fast, but you had these really good moments of camaraderie and, I mean, in true Italian style, like, eat. eat more. And everyone just gorged on cakes. It was awesome.
What did you do with the tray when you're finished handing them?
It wasn't my problem. Weren't my cakes, wasn't my tray.